Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the two new woodcutting methods on Oldschool Runescape's Fossil Island. These two being the plantable teak trees as well as mahogany trees, so you're pretty much always going to be doing teaks, as well as the new mushroom trees called the Sulliuscep mushrooms or something like that. I'm just going to call them mushrooms. And the mushroom trees are excessively good for fossils. They were just buffed like crazy today to give more EXP by a small amount, but an excessively higher amount of fossils. It feels like they gain like almost 3-4 times as many fossils. I believe they're the best method now that's skilling related within Oldschool Runescape on the Fossil Island, so that's pretty nice. So, first things first, teak trees. So, teaks, what will we need for this? Bon Voyage quest, this is obvious, this is what you need to be able to get onto Fossil Island. That's kind of a given. So, the other two, 35 woodcutting and 35 farming. This is required to cut teak trees as well as to farm teak trees. And the other requirement has just been added today, which is 70 agility. 70 agility is required to be able to get through the new shortcut that they just added. This new shortcut is right over here. This leads you straight to the teak trees, and then you can simply just go and cut your planted teak trees. If you haven't already planted teak trees, I believe it takes about 3 days for them to fully grow. Just pay the squirrels a bunch of lipwort roots and they'll protect it for you, and you don't have to worry about them. Come back in 3 days and then they'll be cuttable, and then you can just get a bunch of teaks from them. Then once you get a full inventory, you just simply head right over to the bank. So let me just go show what I got for an hour. Both of these two methods can range from about 60,000 to about 75,000 woodcutting EXP per hour, which is about mid-range as far as EXP is concerned for woodcutting, though this is one of the higher profitable methods right now as far as woodcutting is concerned. It's not excessively high, but as far as woodcutting tier is considered, it is relatively decent. So let me just grab the bird nest and, oops, not the right bird nest. Let me just grab the bird nest and everything that I end up getting as drops. So we got those 815 teaks, and we got these for drops from those. So let's just go price check all of this and see what we ended up earning from 1 hour's worth of doing teak trees, banking absolutely every teak that we get. So in doing so, we ended up getting 232,000 based on current prices. As you can see, the teaks are currently 254, probably sell for about 250, so you can say that's a solid 200,000 right there off of just the teaks alone. So as far as woodcutting is concerned, that's actually quite a bit above average. That's almost the rate of what magic trees give. Might even be more than magic trees now that I think about it. So yeah, that is definitely really decent money as far as woodcutting is concerned. As far as just gaining money, not really the greatest, but given that that was 68k EXP for the hour that I end up doing it, plus you would get even more at higher levels, I would say that that actually is decently worth it, or at least in my opinion it is. So now we're going to get the setup to go do the mushrooms. The mushrooms are very, 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 very excessively ultra annoying to do, but they are worth it for how many fossils they give. So we're going to get ourselves some wines. We're going to need a dragon axe. We're going to need a rake. We're going to need some nummulite just to hold the spot. This is how many I got from the hour as well. We're going to need the digsite pendant as well. So if we just go over the full requirements, of course, Bon Voyage, 35 wood cutting is the requirement you need to chop down the mushroom trees. 41 hit points is mainly because everything around the area will hit very, very, very hard. There's also a shortcut that I don't know if it scales based on your HP, but you might want to use it initially, and it does cost you 40 HP, at least with my HP level it does. Not quite sure if that's static across every account or what, but if it is, then you would need at least 41 HP because it dealt 40 to me when I ended up using it. And you'll also need the digsite pendant. This digsite pendant will help you get to the Fossil Island quicker and will help in getting just the full cycle without having to take the damage. So let's say that you are doing this run for the very first time of mushrooms. So let's go head over there. Of course, this is the entrance to Fossil Island where you end up starting. All you have to do is just walk westwards to the swamp forest-like area and just head over to this little entrance and then over to that shortcut area to kind of begin this. You can also go through the obstacles initially if you truly wanted to, though it is a lot easier just taking that little mushroom if it was the first time that you were doing this. So essentially what you would do is you'd walk all the way over here to the mushroom that you see here. You jump on the rubber cap mushroom and it will say, are you sure? It's going to do a lot of damage, blah, blah, blah. And then you jump on it and then boom, you're going to take a lot of damage when you head over there. You can eventually make another mushroom over here, which I assume would make it so you don't take damage. I have yet to unlock that though. But we should take 40 right here, so assuming this was your first run, you would end up taking, boom, the 40 damage, as I mentioned. And then we'll go eat some wines. And now you would want to go, and also, one thing to note, praying here does nothing. Whatever kind of damage these things do are pure damage, and I don't believe there's any prey that will actually protect you here. So, When you first start off here, the first thing you'll want to do is touch this magic mushroom. Assuming this is your very first run here. You'll want to touch this, and if you have the teleport, go to the house on the hill. If not, go up to the house on the hill, which is all the way at the top, through that little shortcut. Most of you have probably already been here before if you've been on Fossil Island, and you'd want to go and use your Deck Site pendant if you haven't already on this book over here. This will then allow you to rub this to be able to teleport to Fossil Island. That teleport brings you right here. So instead of having to take that 40 damage and do everything that we just did, you can simply use the pendant, teleport here, click on the mushroom, and now that you have unlocked the mushroom, do make sure you have to click that mushroom in that area first before it unlocks, like we just did. But assuming you've already just did that, like we did, boom, now we have this unlocked, so we can simply just teleport here with the pendant always. So I'm not quite sure if it goes in the same order for everyone, but I know that my tree started here and goes on the exact same cycle every single time. So let's go through just one single cycle of this and just show the entirety of it. So first things first, we'll just chop that down. That is really unlucky. We only got one and ended up giving us some Numulite. They can go anywhere from one chop to about like 30 or 40 chops. They can go for a lot of chops. Right over here is the really annoying one. Hopefully we will not get triggered by it. These the crazy archaeologist guy up there. Ideally there will be a high level player actually killing him. No one really seems to be doing that, so it's a bit unfortunate. He can attack you, he can hit you hard. So there is a fungicide that you can use, which I don't normally bother bringing at all. And if you use it on this, it'll automatically kill it and bring it to the next one. This is the one area that you might want to use that on. You might notice this spine mushroom keeps moving a little bit. This mushroom will hit you for exactly 10 damage every single time it decides to hit you and will poison you. You'll want to bring an Antidote Plus Plus or any other kind of anti-poison related item. Whatever you want to bring for that will be sufficient, mainly because if you don't, you will get poisoned for a 5 damaging poison, and if you don't have something, then you're pretty much just going to have to reset your run, so do keep that in mind. And it always hits for a pure 10, which is why level 10 skillers, it's basically impossible to do this, since these things, even if you can somehow manage to tick eat past all the Swamp Tar guys and something like that, you're still going to get destroyed by those, because they hit a solid 10 every time. They never hit anything other than a 10 from what I've seen. Every single time they have triggered on me, it has been an exact 10. And you can see these Swamp Tar guys keep coming up. Don't bother praying against them. They hit true range damage. I don't even think defensive stats matter. I think only your HP matters for the most part. Not fully certain on that. But I know for sure there isn't anything that you can pray that will help. Oops, sorry, wrong area. So we go to the one by the mushroom first. Then we go all the way down there. Then we go to this little guy over here. Sometimes, and there's the spine thing, as I mentioned. They'll hit for you for 10. They are pretty random on when they hit. Just be careful. So as you can see right here, sometimes the little guys come over here and you'll have to switch worlds. We got a little bit lucky and he spawned over there. Sometimes they'll spawn at like right where those bubbles are, which are a little bit annoying. And oops, we did end up getting poisoned, so that's why we have the anti-venom. That lasts for 12 minutes of venom immunity, so now we don't need to worry about that for the next 12 minutes. That's kind of nice. They're also really cheap. I believe they're only about 220 for a 4 dose. So every single dose is only about like 60 GP, not even. They are very, 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 very cheap. As far as what you drop, you generally just drop your food-related items, the casks of your kind of stuff, and the mushrooms. You can keep some of them. You're going to be running this basically on single cycles where you go through every single tree once. That's generally how you run this area, is just go through, do every single mushroom once, and then move to the bank, and then repeat with the pendant to get back to the bank, or to get back to this area, and then you kind of just keep repeating that. So yeah, as far as money, this is really, really poor for money, as you'll see at the end when we end up price checking, but it is really, really good for fossils. I believe, I don't even know how many fossils, we'll see in a second. I believe I got over like 20-something fossils. It is excessively high. I'm really surprised we haven't gotten a fossil this run. Normally by this point we would have about 3 or 4 fossils. We haven't even gotten to see a single one yet, but there we go, right as I say that, there. Oh, come on, we still haven't gotten one. Keep giving us fossils, go. But yeah, it can give a pretty substantial amount of fossils, more so than anything skilling based. I'm pretty sure killing stuff is still quicker, but as far as skilling related things, these trees, to my knowledge, is the best thing that you can be doing now if you're just interested in the fossils alone, to be able to go into the new mining area. But we have 3 more trees to do. We'll have another one that spawns over there and the 2 up front. As you can see, this one goes down. We do get a second fossil right there, and we will have to rake here. This is the whole reason we need the rake, is to get through this little area right here. You might be wondering, why on earth did I bring a rake? It gives you 2 farming XP, and you have to go and use that on there to get through. If you do not have a rake, you will not be able to get through that area. You might be noticing too, what are all these little hoop snake things? I was wondering that too until I actually bothered checking the wiki, because I didn't want to accidentally get some kind of unneeded EXP on my account. But essentially what they are is you knock them out if you have a crush weapon on you. Actually, I'm not even using a crush weapon, so I can't really show it. But essentially what you do, I was messing around with it earlier, I don't think I can. You just stun it. Yeah, I need a crush weapon. But you stun it, and then you pick it up into your inventory, and then you can throw it at one of those swamp tar things. That will then stun the swamp tar guy, so he can't attack you anymore. Is it worth doing? No, not really. It's really weird to use and clunky, and it's not worth the time. You're better off just bringing more food and walking past them than to waste time stunning one of these and then trying to line it, then stunning it, and then worrying about it. Plus, you then have to worry about every single swamp tar one. If you were a low HP account doing it, you might do that. But assuming you have anything remotely decent on your HP value, you're really never going to ever need to use these snakes. They're basically just a waste of time to even bother with. You can cut down basically a whole mushroom in the time it would take you to accumulate enough snakes that you would need to make every single swamp tar guy useless. So definitely is not worth it. We only have one more little dangerous area to get through until we've basically made it out of the area, in which case I won't even bother doing the final 2 mushrooms because you guys will kind of get the point at that point of what is the full cycle. So I will go show it on the map one last time at the end just to kind of recap where the area is. Actually, while we're cutting it right now, we could actually probably show it right now. Let me just go and get a few down. And so essentially, you go to this one first, then that one. So number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, bank, teleport to the little castle thingy, which teleports you back here, and then repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, bank, teleport back, repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you just keep doing that over and over again. That is the method of this woodcutting method. It is relatively safe aside from the arcane archaeologist guy. And look, there we go. We got a large fossil. So as you can see, just from this one inventory so far, we have gotten 2 smalls and 1 large fossil for our efforts, which is pretty decent. Especially since this is semi-AFK, or at least the aspect of actually chopping it down. Of course, moving through the area is definitely not, and when you're near the archaeologist, there we go, even another one. Sometimes I've actually managed to get 4 fossils in a row. Like every single time we should have gotten an item, fossil, 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 fossil. You can get very, very lucky on this. Not quite sure if they're going to be nerfing it at all, because they did literally just buff it today, but definitely utilize it while you can. It is really, really good fossil, particularly if you're an account that doesn't build into combat or into defense, because most of the really good methods that gain you a lot of fossils either require you to have really high damage output or a really high defense. Of course, this is kind of something that does require more on the HP defense side, but you can always just do the underwater stuff if you are a level 3 skiller. For level 3s, I do believe the underwater area is still the best. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be doing a video on that because the little minigame there is annoying, but if you go up there, go over there, and if you have flippers, you can end up getting a decent amount of fossils there as well. So let's just wait till this tree goes down and then just head out. I'm not going to bother doing the other 2 trees. You pretty much get the point. And you could assume that we get like 1 more fossil from doing the other little area right there. Just wanted this tree to go down. Come on, tree. You got this. Go down, tree. But as you can see, we had them go as little as only 1. We can have them go as high as about 20, 30. I'm not even sure what the absolute highest is, but they can have a lot of ticks on them, which goes into the whole AFK aspect of them. We can probably start dropping quite a few of these wines now too, because I don't think we're really going to need most of them. I'll keep 2 just in case we need them to survive. Bringing a Ring of Life could also be somewhat useful here instead of just Ring of Suffering or Defense Cape or something. Mainly because if you go AFK, or not AFK, but if you lose connection while you're going through these little swamp areas, you'd of course pretty much die instantly, because they do hit pretty hard and you can't pray against them or anything. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're a hardcore Iron Man, you definitely don't want to come into this area. It is way too dangerous for how little extra reward you end up getting. But if you're a main account, you don't really need to worry about the deaths, so it's perfectly fine. So come on now. Hush, show us so we can show the full cycle. And you should go down a few more ticks. There we go, a 5th fossil. So you can kind of see just by judging by how many trees we've done. This is our 4th tree. One of them went down in 1 cut, yet we still have 5 fossils right now. And these are almost AFK fossils too, since we could be dropping every single mushroom in our inventory if we wanted to. If we truly wanted to go for less profit but more AFK, we could end up clicking this mushroom and go away for like 2 minutes and just keep getting more and more and more and more, and just kind of let it stack up. And by the time we get back, we might just have like 2 fossils just sitting there for a single click of work. So it is pretty decent to say the least. That Nummulite is starting to get a little bit more than the hour's worth. I would say the hour's worth is around 2,200 if I really had to say an exact amount. Somewhere around the general ballpark. I'm not quite sure how much effect a higher woodcutting would really have on it, but I know 2,000 solid should be at least the rate that you'll be getting if you're using the full cycle. And just to recap one last time, since this appears to be wanting to take forever, tree number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if this tree would just go down, we'd get the full cycle complete. This tree is immune to axes, apparently. I like this, though. I do like the amount of AFK that you can get. As you can see, though, like I mentioned before, you do end up dropping about 50% to 60% to a very large amount of the mushrooms you get. You basically don't even hold on to any mushrooms. You basically just hold on to fossils and the Mortimer fungus. And as you can see, they're coming in with a second large fossil from all of our work right there. So, yeah, you get a lot of fossilage. Quite a decent rate for sure. Tree. I think this is the longest I've ever seen a tree live. Has anyone been keeping track of how many ticks that is? That's like, what, 30, 40 ticks? That is amazing. And another fossil. It just bleeds out fossils. It's insane. I'm gonna have to start dropping these wines. Hopefully I'll have enough HP. I don't think it will matter too much. Random event, go away! We do not want you, Niles. We do not need your random events and all your random inventiness. Tree, go down. Also, if you're curious about the exact rate of EXP, because you notice we're getting like 90, 91s, it's exactly 90.8 if you wanted to calculate it out to the exact thing. And you do get EXP even when you get Nummulite and even when you get Fossil, so do keep that in mind as well. There are some methods in the game where if you're mining that node, you don't actually get the EXP drops for other items related to the drops, but for this, literally everything that you ever get from it does trigger the full amount of woodcutting EXP, which is slightly more than Teak's, but because of the distance, it's slightly worse. Though due to the AFK-ness, like this mushroom right here, if every mushroom was like this, everyone would be doing it. It does not normally get this lucky. Wow. We're just gonna have like a full, there we go, finally. We're just gonna have like almost full inventory of that, so we'll leave it right there. Let's go grab those 2 mushrooms, because why not? Can't leave our 600 gold just sitting there. This is barely anything, but we can just walk out at this point. One more swamp taro guy will attack us. We'll probably take like 30 damage, not too big a deal. Boom, up he does splatter. And we'll just head right out. And what you would do right now is chop down this tree. We're obviously not going to do that for time's sake. And you would then go and chop down this other tree over there. As soon as this one chops down, that one will then become available. Oh, perfect, as you can see. And then this one becomes available. And I'm not going to chop it down now, but once this one gets chopped down, it resets the whole process, which would bring it back all the way over there, in which case you would go and either bank, or if you don't want to bank and you just want to keep dropping your mushrooms and gaining fossils, and just drop all of them, still keep using your food, just go use your pendant, drop back to the little fossil place, the fossil island, and then you simply use the mushroom, teleport right back, and then boom, repeat the cycle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go from there. But we're just going to walk back to the dig site at this point, go and bring back everything that we have, and then go and show how much we actually got as far as loot from this. As far as the money, I'm pretty sure you're not doing this for money. If you're doing this, you're doing it for basically one purpose and one purpose only, and that is for all the fossil drops. So let's go see what we got from the total of this. So let's just bank everything, get it all out of our inventory. So as I mentioned earlier, it was around, let's just get out 2,100 Nummulite. So it was about that many. We didn't end up getting any this run, but you also end up getting Sulliuscep cap, or whatever these things are called. These little special mushrooms that you get from these. You do end up getting those. So do keep that in mind. They're the only thing in the entire game that drops those, so they're worth a couple thousand each right now. And as far as fossils, I can tell you how many we already got from what I saw earlier. 14 small fossils, 7 medium fossils, 4 large fossils, and 1 rare fossil is how many it gave per hour. So that many is how much it gave in an hour. 14 smalls, 7 mediums, 4 larges, and 1 rare, which is pretty decent to say the least. And if we go and price check our inventory, we can see that it has come out to a total of around 186,000. But you do have to keep in mind that these can sell for more than what their grand exchange price says. These might go slightly lower. Not quite sure how Nummulite's going right now these days. I know it's used to charge a shield and everything. Not quite sure for sure. But let's just say, to be safe, 150,000 per hour. So obviously that is relatively bad, but for woodcutting, that's actually not too bad per hour. And you're gaining average woodcutting EXP rates, but the main prize that you're getting, of course, are the plethora of fossils that you'll be able to use to identify, get more nummulite and stuff like that. So I'd say that as the main reward, as what you're really getting, is the fossil output, and this is basically just a side effect of what is occurring as you're doing it. But anyways, that'll wrap it up for this video. If you have any other questions about woodcutting on Fossil Island, or just in general, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.